Hi, I'm Heather from Carseat. If you like my videos and find them helpful, please click the subscribe button. What are pool noodles? Well, they're a pool toy. Aren't they supposed to be for fun and games in the pool? You know, backing each other? Well, sure. But when you're dealing with car seats, sometimes you need a little bit of help with recline angles in rear-facing mode. So today we're going to be looking at pool noodles and how to use them for rear-facing seats like this, rear-facing only seats, and convertible seats, and how to get proper recline using pool noodles and tightly rolled towels, because they can perform the same function as pool noodles. So let's take a look at how to work with both tightly rolled towels and pool noodles. If you take a look at the level line on this rear-facing only seat right here, it says that it needs to be level to the ground. Right now it's not. I'm parked on a level surface, and if you take a look, it needs to be level to the ground. It needs to be right around here. I'll tell you the truth, these level lines are really hard to see and get level because your eyes play tricks on you. You can play around with them and you go, well, I think it's level, I think it's not level. They're really hard. Don't be too hard on yourself if you can't quite get it perfectly level. That's okay. Just get it, as close as you can. But I know that it's going to take probably about one noodle to get that level. It's not going to take something like this, which is a tightly rolled towel, which is, a pretty big thing under there to get it to where it needs to be. Just play around with it. It may mean that you're going to be installing your seat several times to get it right. Go slow, take a deep breath. It's okay. They're kind of tough. And other seats that have different indicators, make sure that you're parked on a level surface, because those types of indicators can be altered if the surface isn't level. Like if you're parked on a slope, if your driveway is a slope, make sure that you park on a level surface. You may need to go into your garage or to a parking lot that has a flat surface in order to get those correct. So let's take a look at the different types of noodles. So, I showed you this noodle to start with. It's a pretty big noodle. And if you take a look at it, do you think it's going to fit in between our latch anchors if we're going to be using the lower latch connectors? Believe it or not, I have actually seen car seats installed with pool noodles that look like this, that are this long, and that's not a great idea because these can actually interfere with the installation because they're just too long. This is a tightly rolled towel like I introduced to you just a little bit ago. And what I like to do with my rolled towels is tape them if I'm going to be using them for any more than just a short trip to maybe get a pool noodle. Because if you don't tape them like this and keep them rolled together like this, then they're going to smoosh down and unravel. So you need to tape your towels, or sometimes you can use hand towels if you need a smaller. This is just an ordinary bath towel, but you can use hand towels if you need like a smaller diameter, more like a pool noodle. So this is a tightly rolled towel with tape around it. And then this is a pool noodle that's cut down to the size that I like to use. And different techs have different sizes that they like to use. This is about, I measured it and it's about 9.5 inches. And so if you think about it, the standard for latch, there's a standard for it, so every car is the same, is 11 inches. And think about a piece of copier paper or printer paper. It's 8.5 by 11. So if you need to remember how big to cut your pool noodles, just cut them smaller than 11 inches, because that way you know that it's going to fit in between your latch anchors, and it's 11 inches center to center on those lower anchors. So you want them to be just a little bit shorter to make sure that you're going to be able to attach your lower connectors if you're using latch. Now, if you're using the seatbelt, it doesn't matter so much, but most car seat bases are going to be just about this size or a little bit smaller, because they want you, if you're using the lower connectors, to be able to fit those lower connectors onto the lower anchors in the vehicle and not have any interference there. So most car seat bases will be able to fit a pool noodle of about this size. So we need to cut this pool noodle down. And I always carry a pocket knife in my pocket, just because I'm always cutting pool noodles wherever I go. And I just open it up. And these pool noodles used to be solid, and then of course they became hollow. And the nice thing about this size pocket knife, you can use any knife that you want, but it just goes right into the center, and then you just cut around like this. And the nice thing about the hollowness is that it cuts exactly where I need it to cut. And I never cut the same place. So anyways, it's about perfect. So, and then the thing with pool noodles is that they tend to roll around and they don't unravel like the towel does, but they do tend to move around a lot. So if you need to use more than one, you might want to get some tape out and tape it. So you can use as many pool noodles as you need. There's no rule, absolutely no rule on how many pool noodles you can use. So you can use, I've used 5 is the most I've ever used. And that was for a seat that had a deep incline angle right here, and it needed to, the seat, car seat itself, it was a convertible seat, really needed 5 pool noodles to fill up that space and get a proper recline angle. So don't let anybody tell you you can only use 3 at the most, because there's no rule. But you know, less is more when it comes to pool noodles and car seats. So you don't want to use anything more than what you need. So for this particular car seat, we need to make it level. And the pool noodle always goes right at the seat bite. The bite is right where the seat crack is, basically. It's the seat crack. And so it goes right there, and we just place it right in between those lower latch anchors, and that's where it goes. And it may seem at first as if it's over reclined. Don't worry about that, because once you press down and start getting either the seat belt or the lower latch connector belt tight, the angle will be altered because you're squishing that pool noodle down. So let's get this installed. Okay, let's get this installed. I've already attached the inside lower anchor. Now let's attach the outside lower anchor. And you can see the pool noodles right here. Okay. Okay, nice and snug. Moves less than an inch front side to side and front to back. It's pretty snug. And let's take a look at this angle line. So the angle line shows us that it's nice and level to the ground now with the addition of the pool noodle. So just that one pool noodle is all we needed to make sure that this base is nice and safe and ready to go right now. What about bases that have built-in recline feet like this one? They do a great job. Do you need a pool noodle? Sometimes. It can depend on the vehicle seat and the particular base or car seat. Sometimes you need just a little bit more recline to get into that particular recline zone that you need for your child. And it all depends on the vehicle that you're putting the base or the car seat into and the particular seat. So it's really depends on how they mesh. It's a particular situation for you. It's entirely individual. So what you need to do is you need to look at your recline indicator and you need to look at the available features on the seat. If the particular car seat allows noodles, what they'll tell you to do probably, if it's an infant seat or a rear facing only base, is they will tell you in the owner's manual to put that recline foot away. So they'll tell you to store the recline foot so that the base is flat like this, because they want you to make sure that it's nice and stable before you put any noodles underneath. The noodles will make it just a little bit more wobbly when you go to install it. Once you get it installed, it's nice and steady, but you don't want to have too much recline, and that's what the manufacturers are afraid is going to happen, is that it just gets too much and that your kid looks like they're taking off for Mars. So make sure that you read your owner's manual, because that's basically the car seat Bible right there. You need to make sure that you read that and follow the instructions very carefully. Some car seats, again, don't allow pool noodles, so make sure you read those instruction manuals. They may also have information on the car seat manufacturer FAQ website. So make sure that you go to your car seat manufacturer website, look up the FAQ on their site, and read and see if there's anything about pool noodles. So take a look there. I've got a convertible seat here, and we're going to decide whether to use a pyramid of noodles or a tightly rolled towel for this one. So if you look on the side here, you can see my recline indicator. I've highlighted it with a piece of chalk because it's actually a line that's molded into the side of the seat. So it's the same color as the seat, and it's really hard to see, especially in video. If you're here in person, you can see it a little bit better, but still, it's hard to see. If you have a seat like this that has a line that's molded in like this, you can use a piece of chalk, or you can use a maybe a piece of tape, like a piece of painter's tape, to highlight it. Just make sure you put it on perfectly. Or you can use a piece. You can use a silver Sharpie or something that's just a different color to highlight that line so you can see it better. But anyways, we want to make sure that this line is parallel to the ground, just like our rear-facing only seat that we did just a little bit earlier. Other car seats may have a sticker on them, a label that has a line that's like that. It can be either here or up near the head area. Some car seats have different types of recline angle indicators. It may be a ball, or it may be some kind of bubble indicator, but they may also have a handle on it where you squeeze the handle and you can adjust the recline right on the base. But they may still need a noodle or two just to get them perfected into that particular recline for maybe a newborn or a young baby. So you may still need a pool noodle for those particular car seats as well. So how do we decide what we need? Well, if you take a look at this recline, we may need to get it just about like this to get that line straight. So what do we need? Do we need something like this or a triangle of pool noodles? I taped together these noodles and I did a really bad job at it, but anyways, this can be under a car seat, so it doesn't really matter. But they give us about the same height for a recline, so we can use either one. And I'm going to use the rolled towels, so because we haven't used it before, so I'm just going to stick it under there. But you may notice that there's a whole ton of space under here. Like, you know, do we need to fill all of this space? You know, that could be like, you know, 10 noodles that would fit under here. And probably, but we don't need to fill all of that space that's underneath here. All we have to do is fill the space that these 2 feet right here, there's one on each side, are touching, because that's what's propping up against the vehicle seat if we were to put it here. So we just need to make sure that those feet are the ones that are pressed against either the noodles or the towel, because that's what's supporting the seat. So I'm going to put this under here. Make sure it's touching, and that line should be about level right there. And I'm going to also do a seatbelt installation on this particular car seat, because the last one was a latch, a lower anchor installation, lower anchor and connector installation. So we're going to do seatbelt on this one. And let's get that started. I'm going to pull the cover up, exposing the belt path. Run the seatbelt through. Buckle it. Lock my seatbelt. There we go. Okay. Let's test it. Yep, moves less than 1 inch. It's rock solid. Moves less than 1 inch side to side and front to back. Tuck that cover back down. We'll get the finer points of that cover in a minute, but how do we look with our angle? Okay. All right, are we level to the ground? So that's how you would install it with a rolled towel. So you can see what a difference an angle makes with Romeo here. Let's put him in. His head is in a nice back position. His chin is not coming to his chest. If his chin comes down to his chest, his airway gets cut off, so his head can come off to the side. It'll loll off to either side, and that's okay. We just don't want it to come down to his chest. The angle is still correct per the manufacturer's directions. So we'll get him buckled up to go for a trip. Let's go Romeo. All right. There's the other buckle. Those buckles always go underneath the baby's bum. Right, give that a tug. All right, pull up, tug again. There's a little bit of slack because we can pinch. If you can pinch above the chest clip, it's still too loose. So give that a tug. A little bit more. Of course, Romeo's a doll, so he squishes down really super easily. Next, we'll move the chest clip up to armpit level. Check again. Yeah, that's nice and snug. Make sure the harness lies in a nice straight line. There's no pinching at the shoulder level, nothing above the chest clip you can't pinch. Harness is in a nice straight line. There are no gaps at the thighs. Looks good. All right, Romeo, you're ready to go.